guys, what we're going to do today is replace the sender unit, the fuel sender unit in my 300 TDI Discovery 1. Now, start off, that's what you look at. Basically got the cap, boot floor, boot up, boot carpet up, boot floor, 6 screws. Now what you're going to find likely, unless you've been in it recently, the chances of them screws coming undone is very, very slim. So I had no chance of getting them done. Grinder off with the heads, lift the cap up, and then what you have to do is just prise off what was rotten screws out of the holes, and then obviously prepare yourself with some new ones and washers. Now that's what you're looking at. Now with mine, you can see that mine was leaking quite badly from here, and it wasn't actually removed, that's happened since, but it had some little pinholes all the way around it, and fuel was coming out of there, going down onto the front of the tank and then onto the floor. Glad I noticed it when I did. So the first thing to do is clean it all off the best you can, then remove your pipes. Now removing the pipes are not as easy as you think, especially these were seized on, and actually, as you can see, they're not reusable, they're knackered. So this one managed to undo, and the threads in theory are 14mm and a 13mm. I'll just get myself a little something to kneel on. 14mm and a 13mm. That's your 13, that's your 14. Now these were so badly worn, these are actually a 12 and a 13. So this obviously undid itself, which is fine after a soaking. And I must highlight this: soak it in WD-40 for 2 or 3 days before you're actually due to do the work on it. I mean, if you're going to be ordering parts, this and other, then you're going to be waiting for 2 or 3 days, so you may as well take advantage of it and get it soaked up in WD-40 or another penetrating fluid, so when you come to it, hopefully life is a little bit easier. With me, it might have made a difference, but they were so badly gone, the chances are, to be honest, it wasn't going to come back. So what I managed to do is I managed to get this with a spanner. So this with the spanner has come up quite nicely. That, all that did was twist straight off and end up with that. Now that, anybody else would panic like mad, but what you've got to do is try and keep calm and think of a way of getting that off there. Now 2 spanners on there didn't make a cat and else chance, so what I did, if you can see, put a cut down there and a cut down there, not with a grinder but with just the blade of a hacksaw on an angle, so you're not actually going to connect to this or in any way and damage this bit. But I'd suggest you do it in 2 places, because if needs be, what you can do is cut straight through, lift that off, and it'll just peel away. But I managed to cut it in 2 places, and I managed to then obviously loosen it off, as you can see. So now that's fully usable, and so that's fully usable. So you've got your lift pipe, which is the thicker one, you've got your return pipe, which is the thinner one, and then also you've got your sender unit cable, which is here. So that just all that does basically is just push the end in and pull away, removed. So what we can do now is go ahead and remove both pipes. Bearing in mind we do not want to get any muck inside these at all, but that's why I highlight the fact everything needs cleaning. Right, so removing the actual unit itself is very simple. It's just a screw cap, like so. So just unscrew it, and obviously to get it off you do need everything disconnected. That's your cap, which as you can see has been soaked in a lot of diesel for quite a while. That to one side. So don't put it somewhere where it's going to be soaked and leave a smell in your car. That's not very nice, is it? So we'll leave it over there. And that's the unit. So the unit just lifts straight out, like so. Carefully not to drop any crap into it. And it sits down in there, and you see in the base the tank where it sits, it takes its reading from. So that wants to come out. Careful not to shake and make a mess of anything, because the more you shake it, tip it up. Bit of fuel coming off, that's fine, and out you come. Right, that's the old one. Everything else, as you can see, is in good condition, so I'm going to keep this as a spare off for something in case I need it. But that is, had it at the top ends. Unfortunately, where the pipe work is, has had it. Now, replacing it. Unit. The replacement unit. Technology is exactly the same, so whether that's been replaced before or not, I don't know. But it looks identical to me, so the chances are it's been replaced before. Definitely since the vehicle was brand new anyway. So don't just need that, you also need the connectors, which are these. And obviously with mine I've had to screw through one and the other one's disintegrated, so I can't actually reuse it anyway. So that's what you need as well. So them two up there, ready to be used. That up there safely out the way. What I'm going to do now is get a rag and just clean round the whole of the outside where the screw sits to try and avoid any contamination. Bearing in mind not to go over the top of the tank as you're cleaning. There is some crap in there, but obviously the nicer it's left, the cleaner it's left, the more chance it's going to be to staying efficient. Just a bit of crap there. That's not too wet actually, because I gave it a good clean the other day. Every so often give the rag a bit of a shake just behind you out at wear, so it's not going to contaminate anything. Right. That is nearly done. Bearing in mind this is a very quick job as long as you're prepared. Got all the stuff in front of you ready to go. Right, we're done. So what we can do now is just carefully remove that cap. That's that one done. As you can see, inside there it's knackered, but also how thin it is around the threads here. There. So obviously cutting there, it's worked wonders. So that's gone to one side. Now the fitting of the new one is basically just the reversal of removal. So tilt it on an angle, gently tilt it, go down. And obviously there's the bath at the bottom that you need to be sat in. Pipes about in the way. This, bearing in mind I'm doing all this with one hand, so it is an easy job. If I can get it right. It's not because I'm one-handed, it's because I have the camera in the other hand, obviously. Obviously it's springy, it springs up, which the other one didn't seem to spring up, so maybe there was a fault with that as well. So that sits there like that, so at least it's sat in position. Now this, I'm going to go away, give this a good clean, and then when it's all cleaned up, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to refit that. Okay, that's a little bit of a clean up now. Not too important about the outside, but the inside where the threads are, obviously you want to be spotless. So this is going to be a two-handed job, unfortunately, so you're going to have to wait there a minute. Reversal of fitting. Fitting is reversal of taking apart, obviously. So pipes out of the way, lower it into position, press down onto the unit, and then just gently find your threads. Make sure everything is pointing in the right location. Just move that a little bit round, I think. Which obviously isn't as easy as it looks. position. So now you need to tighten this up as much as possible. Alright, okay, that must be alright. Nice and tight. Right, now what we're looking at is new connector for each end. So what I'm going to do is first of all fit it on the lift. The way it's fitted is slide that over there, you've got your little sleeve that goes over there, and the way it works is all you do is press or push that into there, it's nice and snug, and hold it snugly while you manoeuvre this and screw it into place. And then what you do is, while holding it, tighten it up, nip it up, and your job's done. So I'm going to get on with that, and then I'll bring you back when it's all done and dusted. Right, yeah, all done, all tightened up. I've had the vehicle running for 10 minutes and given it a few revs to make sure there's no leaks, and there's absolutely nothing going wrong at all. The sender unit's working fine, the fuel gauge has come up. I've put a little bit of sealing tape just in there just to be sort of cross the T's, dot the I's and all that palaver. Giving that a little nip up. Everything's fine. The one thing I would suggest on finishing, because obviously the rust, I'm going to coat them with a bit of grease. Doesn't matter. It's not for anything visible or anything like that. It's basically just to make sure that if any time it needs to be removed or long term protected, then the grease will do the job. I'll slap it all around there because I know it's all 100% working. That's it. So what it needs doing now is replacing the cap or cover, like so. Screws in, which I'm sure you don't need to see me do. 6 screws in, cap back down, door shut, and away you go. So I hope that's been sort of fairly informational, covering for you. You've learnt a bit and you can do it easily at home on your own. So all the best for yours, and see you in the next vid. Cheers.